G'day guys, today here we've got Janine Allis from Retail Zoo now, who founded Boost Juice over 10 years ago and grew it to over 350 stores around the globe. Not only is she one of Australia's most respected business people, but she's also a legend for having us in here today. Janine, firstly I'd like to just start off with start the conversation with talking a bit about your journey, where you've come from and sort of where we are now, and what were the things throughout that journey that have sort of impacted and lessons learned that really stand out. So just starting off, when you left school, could you see or how could you see your sort of future panning out? Did you have ambitions to be doing something awesome like you have done now? Or?
No, look, I left school at 16 and I went to a tech school. Yeah. And for people who don't know what tech schools are, they were designed in the 70s and 60s to create tradespeople. Yeah. So hairdressers and sewers and woodworkers and sheet metal. And they didn't have a year 12. So the thought of actually going on to college or anything that wasn't even an option because you just finished school and went to work. So my ambition really was, I'm a Sagittarius, so I just wanted to travel. And so it was just seriously, I just was working and saving every dollar I could to go overseas.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I've read your book, so you did end up going overseas. You went to America first, is that correct? And
yes.
Then throughout Europe, and you spent quite a fair bit of time in Europe experiencing some pretty awesome things.
Yeah, look, I think the reality is when you're 21, you're young and dumb, right? And I think young and dumb has some great attributes. And the attribute is that you don't get scared of anything. So I put a backpack on my back, went over to America, was a camp counsellor for the San Francisco Girl Scouts for a little while, travelled around America, landed back in England, didn't know what to do for money, so I was a nanny in France, did that for a while, and then it was probably the first time in your life that you let life take you on a journey instead of being planning. So it was like you met someone, oh, we're in Denmark. Sure, we'll go to Denmark. All right, you're in Denmark. Okay, there's jobs in Tenerife, Spain. All right, we'll go to Tenerife, Spain. So it was just sort of, it was just let life, it was that fluidness of the youth of taking. But on that journey, there was, I know it's amazing to think of, but there was no internet, there was no mobile phones. There was, you communicated by coined phones and letters. Half the time my parents had no idea where I was, what country I was in, let alone anything else. You get yourself into all sorts of pickles because you're naive and stupid. The amount of things that happened to me, that the reason I'm sitting here talking to you today now is because of luck, not because of wisdom, because you do get yourself into all sorts of trouble. So going back to your original question is, what did you learn? You have to learn tenacity when you travel. You have to learn problem solving because there's situations I got myself into that were sometimes life and death. So, and you had to use every emotional intelligence. There was one guy, I remember I was in France and I was in Antibes and there was the Cannes Film Festival happening, and this guy came up to me and I wanted a lift, and so because you're young and dumb I was hitchhiking. And he got into the car and he was telling me about how he was this producer and he was, some sort of soft porn he was doing, and I just went, oh, here we go, I'm in trouble here. So it was a problem solving of, all right, I will play along with him because, and then I said I'll meet him the next day and all that sort of stuff, which I never did clearly, but it was that sort of problem solving skills that you're in a car with this stranger, he should have dropped you off there and he's still going and you're going, right, okay, I'm in a bit of a pickle here. So it's just, and that was one of a dozen stories you've got when you travel. Yeah. And but you need that tenacity, problem solving skills and emotional intelligence to actually survive travelling and in business.
Cool. So you travelled overseas and you had a bit of a wow of a time or a heap of fun, you experienced all of these things, and then you've come back to Australia with your first son, is that correct? Yeah. And then went into a full-time job at the cinemas, is that correct?
Yeah, so when I was overseas working on the yacht, I met a guy called David Putnam, who was the producer of a movie called Midnight Express, and very, very famous in England in the TV entertainment industry. Yeah. And so he actually was on the board of a Village Roadshow, which is this huge machine in Australia. And he introduced me to the CEO, and so I met the CEO when I came back. He gave me a job. He didn't even look at my resume. He didn't even know if I even could do anything. Oh, wow. But suddenly I was managing one of the cinemas in Victoria and actually ended up being quite good at it. So then I was transferred to Singapore and then came back to Melbourne and, yeah, just again kept saying yes.
Phenomenal. Yeah, you kept saying yes. That's really a good thing to sort of stand on, is just to take an opportunity and then sort of make it your own. So saying yes to something that arises is great. From there, moved on. Did you at this stage have ambitions to start your own business or go out and then take that next leap, similar to going overseas and just putting everything sort of on the line and go into a business yourself? Or?
Look, I think the journey through it was interesting, and I think that you meet different people on the journey, whether it was David Putnam for Village. My husband I met through working for a company called United International Pictures, and he was working for the radio industry at the time, and so we had a couple more children, and it was really that time when you go, right, I actually don't want to work for someone again. So he was working full time. I didn't take a salary, so I jumped into a number of things. We did publishing and we tried to tour comedians. Neither worked very well. And then it was seeing the category of juices and smoothies over in America, we thought, okay, this could work here. We don't see it. And having no business experience and no experience in retail and no experience in anything gave me that naivety to actually think I could do it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, what I found was it actually wasn't that difficult. It was just common sense.
Yeah.
If I was a customer, what do I want? You have to have more income than expenses.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. So if you keep, and I'm quite often you speak to lawyers and accountants and experts and I think they deliberately try and make it sound more complicated so they justify their fees.
Yeah.
And
that's classic, yeah.
In actual fact, it's actually not. It's really simple. And the year we started Boost, the GST came in, so it was something like, okay, well, how do you do that? Well, you learn it, you do it, next problem. So business is a whole range of problems that need to be solved. Even today, we have problems every day to be solved. And you just have to continue to solve the problems. Like Einstein, classic quote that he said was, I'm not smarter than anyone else, I just state the problems longer. And that actually is the key. People too quickly give up.
Yeah.
Just don't give up.
Just keep at it. That's the key. Absolutely. So progressing through now, you're still involved in Boost very largely, I suppose. Do a lot of those values and those things learnt from the earlier stages travelling, they're still applicable today when you're on your day-to-day doing? So like taking every opportunity and saying yes to it and then pushing it forward and making it something bigger, those things do still happen on the day-to-day?
Yeah, I think it's about having a crack.
Yeah.
When someone said, hey, do you want to work on a boat? Sure, I'll have a crack at that.
Let's do it. Yeah.
We've got, every day we do things that we've never done before and some work and some don't work. In life, you make decisions, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. When they work, you go, right, okay, that works. How do we maximise it? How do we continue on it? How do we make it better? Quite often though, you find that you sit around a boardroom and people come up with great ideas, but it's the execution that has value. It's all very well saying this is a great idea, but if you haven't got the people around to drive it hard, really that's where the value is.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Oh, well, that's awesome. That's really good to get a perspective of, the link between going outside your comfort zone in something that's probably not directed as such, and then being able to apply those same principles and those same lessons learned to something that you're super, super passionate about here. It's awesome. Now, I've been doing a couple interviews lately, and at the end of them, I do this thing called OD's Snappy 7. We're just going to rock off 7 quick, snappy questions.
Knock yourself out.
The first thing that pops in your head, just roll it off the top of the tongue, and there we go.
Okay.
So, are you a morning or night person?
Night.
Night. What's your favourite colour?
Brown.
Brown? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Australia, because it's the most awesome country in the world.
Beautiful. Anywhere particularly in Australia?
Fairhaven.
Fairhaven, yeah. Cool. Whereabouts is that?
Anglesey Lawn.
Okay. Yeah, Lawn, beautiful. Yeah. I've been down to the Falls Festival there. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah, very good.
You would have passed Fairhaven to get there.
I've been through Anglesey for sure. So
yeah, well, you go through Anglesey, through Fairhaven to then Lawn.
Yeah, no, it's stunning down there. Okay, so if If this was your last day on Earth, what would you be doing, and who would you be doing with?
I'd be hanging out with my family.
Yep.
Hanging out at the beach.
Just kicking back.
Just kicking back,
Lapping
going
it
for a
up.
swim, hanging out with my family.
Awesome, awesome. All right, well, thank you very much for your time today, Janine. It's been awesome to pop into the Boost office and see what's going on.
Pleasure.
Suppose we'll see you on Shark Tank.
You will.
Sunday night at 8 on Channel 10, so cool.
Thanks.
Cheers. Thanks, Janine.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Cool.